welcome to our functional fitness class here with GoGo. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. So that's things like, oh, you need help shoveling snow or changing light bulbs, whatever you need around the house. And you can access all of these by calling one number, and that number is 855-464-6872. Also, a reminder that we have a referral code. So at the bottom of your GoGo receipts, you have a code. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both get $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group, so if you ever want to continue any of these conversations online, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat so you can go directly to our page. And with that, we'll get to the meat of the program. If we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness class here at GoGo. Let's see, what do we need? All that you need today is a chair or something stable to hold on to. Since we're going to be doing balance stuff, you need a chair, you need something that you can grab onto. A wall would be okay as well, or a table. So whatever you have is fine. I also have a set of light weights. If you don't have light weights, that's okay. You can grab water bottles or cans or nothing at all and just move through without the weights, and you'll still get lots of benefit. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm gonna move my mic so it's close to where I'll be. Oh, I'm wearing my bright pink pants so you can really see me today. So normally I'll be your big screen, but if I'm not and you want me to be the big screen, you can go to the top right-hand corner of your computers. You'll just move your cursor over, and you can pick the view. So you can pick speaker view or gallery view. So if you pick speaker, you'll see me. If you pick gallery, you'll see everyone else. So do what works for you. Sometimes you have to just adjust your settings because GoGos don't always override yours. Let's see, one more thing. Listen to your body. Do what feels good. If you want to skip anything or if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. You're in charge of your body. Make this work for you. All right, let's go ahead and start in a standing position. Just rock gently forward and back. So feeling the weight on your feet. And a reminder that our functional fitness class is mostly standing. Our yoga class is mostly seated. So just know that if this feels like a bit too much, there's the yoga class that happens every other Friday and every other Wednesday. So the next yoga class will be next Friday. Okay, let's find that even weight front to back. On those feet, planting those feet down, we'll inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, lower the arms back down. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, arms lower back down. Again, inhale. Exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. Let's take those feet a little wider than the shoulders. The toes can face forward or slightly out. We'll go into a small set of squats. It's up to you how low you go. It doesn't need to be huge. I'm going to move my arms. You can do whatever you want with your arms. So we'll inhale, bend the knees, and then exhale, straighten the legs, lift up. So as you inhale, bend the knees, if you want, arms can reach forward. And as you straighten the legs, arms go back. Inhale down, exhale up. Couple more. Great, and then coming all the way up to stand, keep your legs wide, and we're just gonna twist your upper body, let your arms swing. You can let your heels move here as you twist. So sometimes it feels nice to let the right heel rise as you twist to the left, and the left heel rise as you twist to the right. But just let yourself twist, really no right or wrong here. Still waking up the body. And then coming to center. Let's take the feet a little bit closer to each other. And we'll inhale, open up the arms, lift the chest. So stretch the front of the body, and then exhale, round the back. Tuck the chin, tuck the tail, bring the backs of the hands to touch. So now we're stretching the back body. We inhale, open up, stretch the front of the body. And exhale, round, stretch the back of the body. Couple more times here, follow your breath. And come to center, release the arms. We'll do a little bit of side bending. So bending side to side. This can be as fast or as slow as you want, just feeling the side of the body stretching, the waist. If you'd like, you can add an arm reach a few times. So arm can go up to the ceiling as you side stretch. So as you stretch to the right, the left arm lifts, and as you stretch to the left, the right arm lifts. All right, and then coming back to center and releasing those arms, shake it off. All right, so we'll start with really simple senses of our balance and playing with that. We'll start with our feet really wide. So taking a moment to just notice how your body feels when your feet are wide. And let's even let those toes turn out. So feet are at least as wide as the shoulders, if not a little wider, and the toes turn out. And you can feel how stable your body is when we have this really wide base of support. And then from there, let your toes turn to face forward. Might feel really similar, maybe a little bit harder, maybe for some of you actually a little easier, but it's a slightly more narrow base of support. So generally it might feel slightly less balanced. And then we'll take the feet together and we'll keep the toes pointing forward. Take your feet together. And just notice how that suddenly changes your balance. And if you're feeling like, oh, wow, that's really hard, get close to your chair, get close to the wall, get close to something that you can grab onto. So feeling that narrow stance can make it a lot harder to balance. Now being close to your chair. So feel free to actually, let's all hold on to our chair or our table. You can have it in front of you or next to you. If you feel stable with both feet on the ground, you'll place your hand on the chair and then close the eyes. If closing the eyes suddenly makes it too hard, please open your eyes. If you close your eyes and it still feels okay, then you can let go of the chair. And you can really feel how your body has to do all these micro adjustments to keep yourself balanced. Right, and then go ahead and open the eyes if your eyes are closed. And we're going to move into what I call a partial tandem or a half tandem stance. So I'm going to show you with my hands because that tends to be the easiest. So if my hands were my feet and they're next to each other, right? So let's pretend my feet are standing or my hands are standing on the ground. I'm going to shift one foot a little bit forward, but the feet are still next to each other. I'm going to show you my feet as well, but it might be a little bit harder to tell because it's further away. So if my feet were together, then one foot's going to shift halfway forward. And there's the front view halfway forward. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just set ourselves up. So one foot, your feet are together, and then one foot slides slightly forward, like halfway. So the big toe of your back foot is aligned with the arch of the front foot. And then try and find your balance there. Please be close to something to hold on to if you need to. And just play with your balance here. So suddenly it's even harder when we have a slightly split stance. Let's switch. So other foot's going to slide forward so that we have that half tandem stance. But now the other foot is in front. Notice if you have the tendency to suddenly turn your feet out. Nothing wrong with that, but that's you creating a wider base of support. Great, and then let's bring those feet back together. If you are not by a chair, please, for this next one, make sure you are holding on to a chair. I'm turning sideways just so you get a different view. You don't have to turn sideways. We'll step the right foot now directly in front of the left. And then we'll turn our toes out. So I'll show you a front view. We step the right foot directly in front of the left, and then we turn the toes out. So it's almost kind of like a fourth position if you did ballet, not quite, but sort of. So that turn out will give you a wider base. So feel that. Maybe you play with letting go of your chair. And then adjust, let your toes now point forward. You're standing on a tightrope. So all 10 toes are facing forward. One foot is directly in front of the other. And there's not much space between the front foot and the back foot. And you're trying to balance there. So suddenly we've created a really small base. If we created more space between the feet, if we step that front foot further forward, it would probably be a little easier. So feeling those micro adjustments that your body has to make to find the balance. And if at any point here, as we progress, it gets really hard, then you want to stay maybe at the level prior or right where it starts to get hard. You want to be challenged, but you also want to be safe. Let's switch feet. So other foot comes in front and we'll go into that turnout position. So the toes are going out and the heels will be in. And don't worry, we'll go back into do some more strength in a minute, but it's nice to break it up a little bit, change things. So toes are out, heels are in, but we still have one foot in front of the other. Feeling how your balance is here. If you feel stable here and you want to move on, then you'll turn your toes to face forward. And again, you can always grab onto the chair. Maybe you have a pinky on the chair, just a little bit of support. Great. And then let's step those feet next to each other. We're moving into some lunges now, and here I want you to feel stable. So here, just now, we were working on being a little bit unstable, potentially. Now we're going to try and find more stable of a stance, which means you'll find a slightly wider base of support. Let's place the left hand on the chair and step the right foot forward and the left leg back. The feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart in length. And I also want you to have some space between the legs. So we are no longer standing on a tightrope. So what I'm doing right now is not what we're doing. We're not standing on a tightrope. I want you to have some space between the legs. If that feels hard, you can shorten your stance a little bit. So bring your feet a little bit closer together or widen your stance a little bit. So I like to think that I could roll a tennis ball between my legs, a softball between the legs, but maybe not a basketball this way. Of course, the other way, lots of things you can go through. And I'll give you a different view. All right, so feet are 1 to 3 feet apart. You're on railroad tracks. You're no longer on a tightrope. All 10 toes are facing forward though, if that's possible. Keep holding onto your chair for support. We're going into some lunges here, or split squats. You're going to keep your head over your shoulders over your hips, and we bend both of our knees. It is up to you how low you go. Right, listen to your body. If it doesn't feel good to go super low, keep the knee bend really small. And then push down into that front heel as you straighten your legs. Let's add some breath. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you rise. If this feels easy or you feel balanced, you can let go of the chair. So you can do this without holding onto the chair if you feel balanced. If you don't feel balanced, please keep holding on. You can always widen your stance or shorten your stance a little bit for some support, because at some point when your legs are really far apart, it does get hard. Great. Go ahead and hold on to your chair, step forward, back foot meets the front. Turn around, and we'll do the other side. So right hand on the chair, left foot forward, right foot back. Again, set yourself up so you can feel balance. All 10 toes are facing forward, but you're on railroad tracks or two parallel lines. Your feet are not on a tightrope. The tightrope makes it really, really hard. So give yourself that slightly wider base, right to left. And we'll begin. So keeping your upper body relatively vertical, we'll bend both knees, lowering down, and straighten both legs. Okay, go ahead and step forward, back foot meets the front. Step away from the chair and let's grab those weights. We're coming back to those lunges in a little bit, but let's give our upper body a little work as well. We'll do a combo today. So we'll do a combination of a bicep curl, we'll do a hammer curl, and an overhead press. So the palms will stay facing forward or towards each other the whole time. So instead of turning those palms to face forward, we'll let the palms face each other the whole time. We bend the elbows so that the weights go by the shoulders, or your fists go by your shoulders, and then push the arms up overhead. And then we bend and lower down. So hammer curl, overhead press, bend, and lower. We'll keep going here. You can always alternate arms. So if you're feeling like it's too much to do both arms at once, you can do one at a time. Try and keep your torso relatively still. And you're just moving the shoulders and the arms. So there's no back bending. The spine is not involved. This is an arm exercise. Couple more. Okay, let that go, put those weights down. And we're going back to those split squats. So left hand finds your support. Right foot goes forward, left foot goes back. So we're repeating an exercise we've already done. You're on two parallel lines or railroad tracks, so make sure you're not standing on a tightrope. Your feet are 1 to 3 feet apart. It just depends on the length of your legs. You're welcome to keep holding on with your left hand, or maybe you let go. We bend both knees, and it can be a really small bend. It doesn't need to be huge, or you can go all the way down. All right, it's up to you. Listen to your body and then come back up. Bend and straighten. Notice this front knee and watch that the knee doesn't knock in or out, that it's tracking straight forward, lined up with the toes of that front foot. All right. If you're not holding on, go ahead and grab a hold, step your feet together, and turn around. Other hand to the support. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. So same setup. All 10 toes face forward, back heel is off the ground. Your feet are on parallel lines, anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart. Torso is upright, we bend both knees, and we straighten both legs. Again, you're welcome to let go of your chair or your support if you have the balance. If not, please hold on. That front knee is tracking straight forward. It's not knocking in. It's not pushing too far out. All right, let's grab a hold of the chair or your support and step forward. And grab your weights. Back to the upper body. So same exact exercise that we did earlier with the arms. Take a moment, catch your breath. Hammer curl, we bend the elbows, palms are facing towards each other. And then we push the arms up overhead without moving the spine. Arms lower back down in the direction they came. Keep going. If you don't have weights, you can imagine that you are carrying something heavy and pushing it up and then slowly lowering it down. If your weights feel too light, you can think about that as well. So just using your mind to imagine that your weights are much heavier than they are will get those muscles working a little bit more. Also continuing to be aware of the form and trying not to move the spine or the rib cage. Remembering that this is a shoulder and an arm exercise. Couple more. All right, let's put those weights down. And we'll do a little more balance work. So make sure that you have that support nearby. It can be in either hand, it really doesn't matter, or it can be in both hands. I just have it on the side so you can see me better instead of having it directly in front. We're going into either your half tandem or your full tandem stance. So that's again where the feet, so if we pretend my hands are the feet, one foot is either slightly forward in front of the other or they're one in front of the other. We're going to add some motion with our head, which will make it more challenging. So I want you to be in a place where you feel like, oh, I think I can hold this, versus going for the super challenge, because once we start moving our head, it will feel like an intense challenge, most likely. Maybe you're a balance king or queen, but start slow, make it harder as we go. Feet can also be together. So if that's enough work, feet together. For the next step of challenge, we'll move, I'll mirror you. We'll move that right foot Either halfway for a half tandem, so again, that's 1 foot slightly forward, but the feet are still next to each other, or 1 foot directly in front of the other. And that would be your right foot, so I'm mirroring you. So find whatever one works, one where you feel challenged, but not like you're going to fall over. Again, you have a support nearby. We're going to move our head. So turn your head to look to one side. It does not matter which side. So you're just going to turn your head, look past your shoulder, and then bring your head back to center. So that head turn will make this a little harder. That's the point. Turn your head, look the other way. And back to center. Little wobbles, totally fine. Again, if you need to adjust the feet to maybe a slightly more stable stance, please feel free to do that. We look up towards the ceiling. And center. And then down towards your feet. Let that head move too. It's not just the eyes. And center. Now, the trickiest one, at least trickiest for me, will go ear to shoulder. The shoulder doesn't move, so it's a side bend of the neck. The shoulder is not really moving. We bring the ear towards the shoulder. It's like you're cocking your head. You're like, When you're like listening, maybe a listening position for the head. Back to center. And then ear to shoulder on the other side. It's called lateral flexion if you're curious. It's just the side bend of the body, or in this case of the head. And then back to center. Pause, find your balance. And then we'll switch sides. So take note of which leg is in front. Step that leg back. If you are keeping your feet together, just keep your feet together. Otherwise, you go the other leg. So if you did the same as me, in terms of mirroring, that left foot goes slightly forward in a half tandem, or go full tandem, left foot directly in front, standing on that tightrope. I didn't mention this on the other side, but you could always play with the feet turned out as well, and that will give you a little bit more support. First, find your balance. So get steady where you are and feel as though, okay, I can hold this. If I didn't move my head, I can hold this. If not, then adjust, go back to a slightly more stable stance. And then we add the head, turn the head, look one way, does not matter which way. It's also totally okay for you to lose the balance and step out of it and then come back in. Bring the head back to center. And then head turns the other way. We just want to make sure that we're safe. It's fine to feel challenged and come out of the pose, but just making sure you don't feel like you're going to fall. Bring the head back to center. Let's look up towards the ceiling. Head to center. And then look down to the ground. Head to center. We'll do that side bend of the neck, so ear moves towards the shoulder, but the shoulders don't move. Center. Other ear to shoulder. Center. Find that balance. And then let go, shake it off. Okay, let's leave those legs alone for a little bit. We'll do a little more arm work. We're going into our triceps. So grabbing your weights. Going to bend forward, bringing your torso towards parallel. So my torso is not parallel to the ground, right? That would be here. That's quite a lot of work. So I'm going to go part way towards parallel to the ground. Knees are bent, hips are back. The more parallel to the earth you are, the harder this will be. So if this starts to feel really hard, you lift your torso higher. If your back is starting to bug you, then I suggest you play with a split stance instead. So one foot can come in front of the other. Make sure your core is slightly engaged, or your abdominals are slightly engaged to support your spine. So soft bend of the knees, hips are back, spine is long. We bend the elbows and keep the elbows high. So my upper arms are now parallel to the ground as best I can. And then we straighten the arms back behind us and then bend the elbows again. Straighten and bend. So we're looking to work the backs of the arms. The elbows stay in the same position, even though they're bending and straightening. Couple more. And then release the arms, come on up. Woo. Few deep breaths. We'll put those weights down. We're gonna do a little bit more balance. Our last balance exercise for the day. Holding on to your support. Again, however you want to hold on. One hand, two hands. We're going to stand on one foot. So putting your weight onto one foot, doesn't matter which leg, you choose. Lift the other foot off the ground. I'm going to bend my knee and bring the foot back. But I don't mind, maybe your foot comes forward today. Pushing down into your standing leg, start to find your balance. Maybe you keep holding on. Maybe you hold on with one or two fingers. Or maybe you hover your hands above the chair. If this is super easy for you, you can close your eyes, but only if this is super easy for you. Hands back to the support if you've lifted them. Lower your foot and we switch sides. Standing on your other leg. Rooting down into the standing leg. Other foot's off the ground. It can be forward or back. Keep holding on. Maybe you hold on with just one or two fingers. Maybe you hover. And only if it feels really easy do you close your eyes, right? And we have levels for everybody. So listening to your body, finding what works for you, what's safe. And what challenges you just enough. It's totally fine to fall out of the pose as long as you don't hurt yourself. It's fine to wobble, that's normal. All right, let's bring the foot down. One more set of those tricep extensions. So let's grab those weights. Face the other way this time. We bend those knees, hips go back. Again, if you need to, split your stance, totally fine. You can even, alternate as we go. We bend the elbows. Elbows are high. The elbows stay high the entire time. Straighten and bend the arms. So at the straightened position, your arms are trying to be parallel to the earth. The upper half of the arms try not to move as you do this exercise. Great, and coming up, woo. Putting those weights down. Couple shoulder rolls. Shoulder rolls go the other way. Okay, so this next exercise is a calf exercise. It does also feel like a balance exercise for many of us. So even though it's not necessarily the goal for it to be a balance exercise, it might feel that way. We'll place the hands on the chair here. I recommend that you have two hands on the chair so that you can really focus on the calf work, not so much on the balance. Feet, you could play around. You could have your feet together for more challenge, or let your feet go about outer hip distance apart, so like pelvis width for a little more support. Don't go too wide, so just let it be more supported or a little less. It's up to you. From whichever position you're in, holding onto a chair, we lift up onto the tippy toes and then heels lower back down. Up and down. It's up to you how high you go. Notice what parts of the feet you push down into as you do these heel raises. See if you can really press into the ball of the foot towards the big toe mound. So there's a little bit more weight on the inner part of the ball of the foot. It's not that you're on the toes only. It's just oftentimes we roll to the pinky toe edge side of the foot and we don't get that ankle stability that we want. And so to get that ankle stability, you could imagine that you're holding a small ball between your ankles so the ankles don't flare out to the side. All right, next time your heels come down, go ahead and let them stay down. And we'll go into a calf stretch. Leave your left foot forward, step your right foot back 1 to 3 feet behind you and bend your front knee. So now both heels are flat on the ground. So that back heel is grounded, the back leg is straight, and the front knee is bent. You're actively pushing that right heel, that back heel down into the ground. Now, keeping the foot positioning so the heels stay down, give your back knee a small bend, continuing to keep the heel down. And so that might change the stretch. That'll change what you feel. It might feel like you can't bend the knee at all, and that's okay too. Re-straighten that back leg, and then step forward. Back foot meets the front, and we switch sides. Other leg, left leg goes back. Front knee is bent, back heel pushes down. So both feet are completely flat on the ground. The right knee is bending, the left leg is straight. We're breathing. And then small bend of that back knee, trying to keep the heels down though. So the back leg goes from that totally straight to just a really small bend. Continuing to try and keep the heel down. Might feel like it can't really go anywhere, and that's okay. Straighten out that back leg and step forward, back foot meets the front. Second set of heel raises. We'll do this now with our feet turned out into like a really small V. It's like a slice of pie or a pizza slice. The heels are together and the toes are out. These heel raises are going to be really small because I want you to try and keep your heels together. So you're going to squeeze those heels together. I'm going to face you for the first few. Hold on to your chair with both hands or one. Push down into the balls of the feet. The heels come up only so high as you can keep those heels together. And then we come back down. So we're feeling this nice squeeze, a little rotation of the thighs. So heels squeeze together and back down. Keep going. So you might find that it's a smaller range of motion than when we had our feet facing forward or parallel. All right, and then lower those heels, shake it off. Stepping away from the chair, let's take the feet nice and wide, wider than the shoulders, toes can point slightly out. We'll bend those knees, and then we'll inhale, straighten the legs, circle the arms up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, bend the knees and lower the arms. Inhale, circle the arms, straighten the legs, exhale, bend. One more, inhale, circle out and up, and exhale, bend. Releasing those arms, straightening out those legs, bring those feet back together. Last circling of just the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling, reaching as tall as you can. And then palms touch, hands lower towards the heart. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself for taking time to take care of your mind and your body. Give yourself a round. Awesome work, everybody. I hope that was fun for you. If you're new to class, just know that every week is different. So today we did a ton of balancing stuff. Sometimes we do just one balance exercise and there's a lot more strength. So know that there's a lot of variety. There's also a through line, especially in the yoga class. It's pretty similar, but with a few changes in exercise. The functional fitness class changes and different body parts are addressed each week. If you have any questions, questions regarding class, so our fitness class or our yoga class, now is your time to ask. If you have GoGo specific questions, I recommend that you reach out to GoGo directly because I usually can't answer those.
Adra, this is Carol. You didn't let Bertha tell you the move the week last week because I don't know what it was.
What was so that's Wednesday. We don't do any moves of the week on Friday. So what was
okay.
Yeah, so no moves of the week on Friday, otherwise my brain can't.
I didn't know that because this is my first Friday. Okay.
Yeah, so only on Wednesdays. Let's see, the last Wednesday. Oh, last for yoga. So just 2 days ago, the move of the week is now forearm stretching. So if anyone wants to think about that, you're welcome to do some forearm stretching.
Okay.
Anything else? And of course, if you have nothing, you can pop off or just hang out and see if anyone else asks a question. And we have our calendar also in the chat if anyone is wondering what class is happening when. All right, I think everyone's ready to get on with their Friday and their weekend. So I will let you go. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Wednesday or next Friday. Wednesday, we're going to do more balance because I promised that we would work on balance. So Wednesday, we will be doing more balance. It'll be different than today's class, but just know that that's what's going to happen on Wednesday. And then we'll move on. Yeah, Bertha?
I'm wondering if you could include a discussion of heels of shoes.
Yes, I'll mention that do you want me to say something now or on Wednesday?
Maybe for the group.
For the group? Yeah, so I'll say something now and I'll say it again on Wednesday. So this is my opinion based on my experience, right? Everyone's gonna have a different, every body person has a different opinion. I am generally anti-heel because a positive heel, meaning that our foot is raised with the heel up and the toes down, creates a shortening of our calf muscles. It's a chronic shortening of our calf muscles because we're always in that slightly heel raised position, right? We're in a slight releve or a slight lift. And what that does is it shifts our center of gravity forward, but it doesn't allow us to be in our optimal vertical posture. Because if this is a little hard to do with video, I'm gonna step away, but we'll see if I can do this. So optimal vertical posture, my hips are directly over my heels and my torso is above that, right? And then if I maintain that optimal posture and put on heels, it wouldn't be possible because I would fall forward. And so what happens when we put on heels, since we don't want to fall forward, we adjust our posture, which then creates a forward thrust of the pelvis and a shortening of those muscles in the low back, and also usually a rib thrust. So you can see now the way gravity is working on my body is not optimal, and it's creating these unnatural curves in the body. And so what we want to find is that those hips are above those heels and the torso is vertical. And so I tend to avoid heels of any kind. A lot of sneakers have a raise of the heel, just because it creates a lot of shortening of the calf muscles. However, if you already have a shortened calf muscle, then if you start to reduce the heel raise, it has to be very gradual. So you have to be really mindful of that and being gentle. So that's my take on heels. And so I tend to avoid them. Almost all of my shoes are what we call zero drop. And there are lots of brands that do zero drop shoes, as well as wide toe box shoes, so that your toes have space to spread and then your heels can really ground, because we want gravity to push down onto our body in kind of a vertical fashion, versus creating those kinks in our system. Next on Wednesday, I'll see if I can find a picture. I have a good picture of it somewhere. where we can really see what heels do to the body. So that's my take. Does that sort of answer your question, Bertha?
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. And I could go on for much longer about it, but I'll touch on it again next time. Does anyone have any questions about that? Or
I just want to agree with Bertha. That is very helpful. I knew I never liked heels. I may have shoes with maybe a 2-inch heel, and that's as high as I've ever gone because I just could not stand them.
yeah, your body feels bad generally. If you wear heels for a night out and then you come home, you go, oh, my knees hurt, my hips hurt, my calves hurt. Our body tells us that until we get used to doing something over and over again.
Then also there are different high heels. Some of them are much thicker than others. Others are like a spike, very narrow.
Yeah, and that makes
I
it
would
even.
I would never do spike. No.
I will break my ankle if I wear spiky. Yeah, so, but you know, there's also something about feeling great. So if you feel like you look amazing in heels, it's okay to sometimes wear heels, and then to maybe around your daily activity, not when you're going out with friends, but when you're just around to maybe not wear heels. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on that? No. I'll try and remember to get a photo of what happens when we do when we put on heels for Wednesday, so that'll be fun. All right, thank you, everybody. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.